Just to clarify, our podcast, Saving People Queering Things, does not advise you have sexual relations with a demon. Hello, and welcome to Saving People Queering Things, the supernatural podcast where Sam makes questionable decisions with the girls he brings home.
Today, we are pulling up to season 4 with episode 9, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm Abigail, my pronouns are they, them.
I'm Noah, my pronouns are he, him. And my question for my co-host today is, how many angels do you think there are? No, wait, I can't ask that because you probably know.
I have too much information for that question, Noah. Try again.
What would you do if you were in Anna's position and started hearing those, voices saying crazy ass stuff about the dean?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, the problem is that I've seen too much of shows like this, and I'm not sure if that makes me more likely or less likely that I'd believe that they were real. So I'd probably end up in a very similar position to Anna, because I think I'd be very confused, very lost as to whether or not they were real, which would probably mean that I would end up taking them as real. So that's not great.
Well, I mean, hey, it works out. See, I grew up watching Psych a lot, and there's that one episode where Sean hides the walkie-talkie in Gus's wall and talks to him at night and makes him think it's a ghost for years. And so I would assume it's something like that. Someone's playing some crazy prank on me, and I'm
that's a better answer. That's less likely to land you in Anna's position, which is not a great position.
No. Being blamed for murder at a little asylum escape, not great.
No. So now that you've met Noah and I, it's time to catch you up. So if you haven't watched Supernatural recently, here is what you've missed on the road so far.
First up, Abigail is going to recap the season so far.
We're gonna go for it.
Hell yeah. 3, 2, 1, go.
So they're these two brothers, Sam and Dean. They hunt monsters and demons. And Dean went to hell because he saved Sam by making a demon deal. And then an angel pulled him out of hell. And Dean doesn't really believe in angels, but apparently they exist. And the angels say, we have plans for you. Well, Dean was in hell. Sam was off doing questionable things. We don't really know because Sam won't tell Dean, which is causing some friction between them. And Dean won't tell Sam about what's happened to him in hell.
Nice.
There were probably other things. The seals. I probably should have mentioned the seals.
Nah, I mean, they're minor factors.
Minor plot points in this season. We'll talk about them in the episode. But before we do that, Noah's going to recap this episode so you can talk about the seals.
Perfect. I love talking about seals.
Are you ready?
Yeah. I'm ready. Count me in.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Go.
Okay, so we start off, we meet this girl, Anna. She breaks out of a mental institution, is being hunted by demons, and because of voices she hears in her head. At the same time, we see the brothers having conflict and flashbacks to when Dean was dead and what Sam did with Ruby. And then we get some crazy flashes of what he did with Ruby, and Dean did not like it. Then they get hunted by another really powerful demon who also tortured Dean in hell. Didn't talk about what Anna did at the end, but it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Castiel and another angel show up.
Yeah.
Things happen.
Uriel. Yeah. Didn't even mention them. Whoops.
So we will note this is a 2-parter episode. So this was the mid-season finale, and it was kind of billed as part 1, part 2. The end of the episode does end on a very dramatic cliffhanger.
To be continued.
And the next episode follows up. We are putting these out in our normal schedule. So we're talking about this one this week. We'll be talking about 410 next week, but Noah has seen both of them already. So
spoilers.
So yes, if you haven't seen 410 yet, maybe watch 410 and then come back and listen to this one, just because we may or may not.
We'll try our best, but they kind of bleed into each other a little bit. So our bad. But now we can slide right on into picking some music to accompany us on our journey. We're collecting songs to build a season 4 mixtape. Here's what we've got this week. Abigail?
So the song I have this week is Choker by 21 Pilots. This song has the kind of frenetic energy that I feel like is very Sam in this episode. I'm specifically flashback Sam during the 4 months that Dean was in hell. I joked to Noah earlier that this Sam is Mystery Spot Sam, because like the Sam that we saw in Mystery Spot when Dean was dead is the Sam that we see in canon when Dean is dead. And this song kind of, I feel like, captures some of that energy. It's got, lyrics like self-sabotage is a sweet romance, which like for Sam and Ruby's relationship works really well. So that's my contribution this week. What about you, Noah?
I would have to go with I Won't by AJR. One of their newest tracks. Phenomenal. I say one of their newest tracks. I'm hoping they have more out by the time this episode. But it's a bop. It feels to me how Dean was coming into this episode. It's very much about expectations that are put on you and how you feel with those and how you deal with those. And it has a chorus part that's so welcome back and take a breath. You've come to life. You're bored to death. So, I mean, hey, kind of fits.
Yeah. Yep. These are, I feel like these songs have similar vibes.
Complementary vibes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
21 Pilots and AJR, where you guys at? Let's do a tour.
So now that we've got our mixtape, let's get the show on the road. Today's episode is I Know What You Did Last Summer, and we're going to be talking about it through the theme of grace. And I want to hear all of your thoughts, Noah. These are two of the best episodes of the season, I think, and I want to hear.
They were very strong. Right off the bat, we're given information from Anna. Right, like a lot of little exposition points that she has picked up from hearing the angels. There's 600 seals, okay, which is 66 of them are needed to win, and it's 534 seals that are just extra, just chilling. And so clearly there's not 600 angels, because if there were, they could have one angel by each seal waiting to stop it. So there's a finite number of angels, right?
That is a really interesting theory that I have never thought of. That's a really interesting observation. I think my only thought with that is that some of the seals, like we saw in 407, some of the seals are tied to events, not necessarily locations.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there is enough angels
for one for each seal, but it could be happening anywhere on the globe at that point.
Yeah, or multiples, or if maybe one angel wouldn't be enough for some of the seals. Like you think about Samhain. Samhain was fairly powerful, and there were
a lot required to take him down.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that's a really interesting theory about the number of angels that there are. And at this point, we have no real information about how many exist.
Interesting.
And we know there are a lot of demons. We know there are a lot of demons because
you can make demons from tortured humans, and there have been plenty of humans that deserve to be tortured. So it could be any number of demons.
And we also, even just from the end of season 2, we saw a lot of demons escape hell, and that was just from one gate being open for a little while, not even very long. And they let out a lot of demons.
Yeah, not great. I liked the touch that she could see the demons' true faces. That was cool.
Yeah. I'm curious with that. I know you've already seen 410, so you know what Anna is and why she can see the demons and why she can hear the angel radio. But when you were watching this initially, what did you think? Did you have any thoughts or guesses as to why Anna could hear the angels and see his face?
I honestly didn't have a clue. Whenever it was going down, I was baffled. Every other time we've seen angels try to talk to humans, it's been disastrous effects. So how is she just hearing them on the random, just casual? And Dean's face whenever she says that, and he's like, what? You just heard them? Are you serious? You're still fine, alive? Okay, fascinating. I didn't put it together until next episode.
That's fair. I think this is the first episode where we get angel, what's going to be kind of called, and I don't know if they use that term in this episode, where angel radio.
Yeah.
But that's what it's going to become known as, and this is the first instance of being almost radio is the best analogy, because it's a chant. Anna is sort of tuned into this because she used to be an angel.
It's a one-way receiving type situation, so radio makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
My only inkling was that she was psychic of some sort, like Pamela, but
that's
even
the
Pamela
most
messed up from the angels, so she has to be different.
Yeah, well, and like Pamela could hear, like she could communicate with Castiel when she was tuned into that, but it wasn't. Anna is hearing them like involuntarily.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this episode, and Anna has no clue as why she's hearing them.
Yeah.
Until the next episode, but so we won't talk about that part of it yet.
Yeah, no. As far as grace goes, the biggest demonstration, well, there were two really significant demonstrations of grace, in my opinion. Ruby showing back up with Sam and Dean, showing back up into their lives after everything Dean's been through in hell, and how Ruby dealt with Sam after that, expects a lot of grace from Dean.
Yeah.
She's part of the reason he was tortured for 40 years.
Yeah. In Dean's mind, like she is directly on the bad side. She's on the side that like she was not trying to save him. She was the one that told Sam in season 3, like, there's nothing we can do. Mm-hmm. We can't save Dean. So even if she's not actively opposed to them, she's certainly not like their ally in Dean's mind. And so, yeah, she is asking for, I think, a lot more grace and understanding than it's not going to be easy to give. And we see that in Dean in this episode. He's angry. He's upset. He's not willing to give Ruby any benefit of the doubt.
No.
Especially since he knows that Sam is hiding some things. Like he's picked up on the fact that Sam is hiding what happened during his time in hell.
And the last time that Sam was hiding stuff from him, it had to do with Ruby. So
true.
What are the odds?
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of the flashbacks.
Yeah.
Loved seeing Sam go mystery spot, but this time it stuck. Mm-hmm. It was a broken Sam that went to that crossroads, and it's how bad do you have to look for a demon to call you out on it?
It's true.
He says, Sam, you're looking a little rough there, bud.
Yeah, I know. All the demons are like, ooh, that Winchester, like he's not doing so well.
It's exactly what they want.
The demon almost seems like sympathetic to him. He's almost like, he's like, I'm sorry, I can't offer you a deal. Like, I don't know. It's just, and also like, I don't feel like I should. Like, I feel, it's like, I know that I'm supposed to be in for your destruction, but you seem like you've got that handled all on your own.
You don't need any help there, bud. Oh. You got that. Round and round the Winchesters go was such a fun line, though. And
so accurate.
Yep. John, Dean, Sam. Okay. Let's go.
Yeah. And the only thing stopping it at this point is the fact that the demons don't want to make that trade. Mm-hmm. I wonder if this was any other less important set of brothers, if maybe they'd be like, sure, yeah, spread the trauma around a little.
Because, I mean, if they make a deal where they've been torturing Dean for, at this point, we'll say 10 years, because Sam would have gone pretty fast, but time's different down there, maybe 10 years. And then he comes back and spends 1 year on Earth while Sam is getting tortured for 60 years down there and then goes back anyway. Yeah, it's a hell of a deal for the demons. But yeah, they don't want Sam down there.
No, and they say specifically, the demon says, we have Dean exactly where we want him. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on that.
I think, yeah, it's got to be they just want Dean as far away from Sam as possible.
Oh, okay. So you think it's actually about splitting them up?
Yeah, the angels want Dean with Sam to stop him, so the demons want Dean away from Sam, letting him get darker and darker.
Right. Dean as the protective force for Sam.
Yeah.
Which tracks with what the angels have said in the previous few episodes.
And Dean is now marked by an angel, so he's got that extra level of protection for Sam.
Right. He's got heaven on his side, or like the angels on his side.
Which leads right into your Dean, the Dean.
Oh. Yeah. So the angels are talking about Dean.
But not just talking about him. They are hyping him up. They are saying he's the one that can save them. Wow.
Yeah. And Anna saying, obviously there's something about when Castiel pulled Dean out, because Anna says, the first time she heard the voices, first words I heard clear as a bell, Dean Winchester is saved.
So Cass, that's Cass, right? It's gotta be.
Yeah. I think that's pretty, I think that seems to be how most fans interpret that one, is that's Cass's sort of declaration to the other angels that, they've saved Dean. We did it.
Which, okay, so it makes sense that Anna, that would have been the first thing that she remembers hearing, because angels haven't been active on Earth for a long time. And
Right.
Anna's, well, okay, if she's been on Earth in disguise as this human, Anna, wait, okay, no, we got to talk about that next episode. that's a whole other
We'll
thing.
come back to that. We'll come back to that. Because that's really related to when we actually know what Anna is. But
it would make sense for her not to have heard anything except for Dean being saved, because angels haven't been active on her.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So then something about that triggers her ability to hear the angels,
which sets her on this wild other path of self-discovery and collision with the Winchesters.
Yes.
But, or in contrast, when she says, some of them don't like you at all, to Sam, in his face, he's like, these motherfuckers, I swear to God.
Poor Sam too, because like 2 episodes ago, we had him meeting Cass for the first time, and the first thing Cass says to him is like, Sam Winchester, the boy with the demon blood. So he does not have a great track record with people associated with angels.
No.
None of them like Sam. They all see something in Sam that they go, ooh, something's going on with you.
Absolutely. Wait, give me 1 second.
I want to go back a second just to the concept of grace, because we talked about how Ruby is kind of looking for grace, whether or not she's like explicitly looking for grace. She's looking for some understanding and some like leeway from Dean because of what her and Sam have been through. But Sam, like after Dean died, like Sam is not looking for grace or absolution. Like Sam, after Dean dies, is looking for revenge, and he's not looking to like get there in an upright sort of way in any way. Like Sam is not looking to come out of this clean. No. And that I think is really interesting, is that Sam isn't looking for grace. And even when he's explaining it to Dean, he doesn't seem to be looking for grace or favor with Dean for these decisions. He's just trying to tell Dean, like, this is what I did. This is why I did it. You have a problem with that? You have a problem with that. I just think it's such an interesting place for Sam to be in at this point in the show.
Honestly, damn. When Ruby busts into the church where they're talking with Anna as Alistair appears, I'm totally with Dean. He's been given grace to Ruby this whole time, but when he's like, yeah, you come in and all of a sudden the demon's here, really suspicious. She's like, you brought him here, not me. I'm with Dean. I think Ruby's a little sus right now.
You know, like, regardless of what's true in that scenario, like, from Dean's perspective, totally fair that he's wary. He came back from hell. Sam was with this girl who didn't initially say who she was. Then he finds out that's actually Ruby. Then he finds out Sam and Ruby have been, like, working together this whole year, and Sam has gone super dark and won't tell him most of the details. And then, like, this girl shows up, and then a demon shows up that's, like, really high ranking, and Dean remembers him from hell. And, you know, I think Dean's warranted a little bit of suspicion at this point at Ruby.
A little bit.
And you know, like, even when Sam kind of comes clean, he doesn't tell Dean the thing Dean actually wants to know, which is what Sam and Ruby have been doing, other than
boning.
Other than a whole lot of fun times.
I'm gonna leave all that silence in there so people know I didn't just jump in with boning because I wanted to.
I do want to talk about Sam and Ruby's development of their relationship outside of the way Dean thinks about it. What do you think about it?
I'm very conflicted because it's possession sex, which is odd.
But it's not because
the vessel
is
dead, which is fair. And so now it's a demon's body. So then I guess
it still used to be a human's body. So it's still like,
It's like borderline possession sex. But even if it's not possession sex, it's interspecies, a demon and a human. Part human, part demon, I guess.
I mean, yeah, it depends how much what we think about Sam and what the demon blood has or hasn't
origins. Done. Yeah. So if he's changed enough that he's part demon, well, okay. But it also seems like having sex with a demon makes his powers a lot bit stronger. So having sex with a demon turns you more demon. Fascinating.
Would it work with other species as well? Not to ask a horrible question. It only applies to demons.
Sam, you keep getting stabbed. Go have sex with an elephant or something. Get some tough skin. Like, damn, what? No, it's not how it works. It shouldn't be how it works. It's just, I mean, I can't help but do a little bit of a spoiler for next episode, but like, if that concept applies, Does he get wings?
Does Dean get wings?
Oh my god.
Okay.
Sam Winchester, the supernatural chameleon.
I mean, that's interesting.
Okay, but as far as their relationship goes, I'm curious to see how it goes. I still feel like she's using him.
I mean, the very like way that she pressures him into being okay with their physical relationship is on that border of like, Sam is not in a good space.
Mm-mm.
He is abusing substances. He is suicidal. He is willing to do anything to try and get Dean back at this point. And she kind of comes in when he's super vulnerable and tries to
take advantage of that. And it was very uncomfortable to watch, but because it felt very forced, and it felt like he definitely didn't want to, and then she influenced with some demon power in some way, and it's like, all right, okay, great. Not a great start for a relationship.
No, and regardless of like her intentions with Sam, you know, in terms of their relationship or externally to their relationship, regardless of how suspicious she actually is, the manner in which she goes about like starting this relationship is suspect.
Yeah.
And I think that's what part of what Dean is picking up on. That's part of what Sam is not, either isn't picking up on, or at this point doesn't care, because I think he's in so deep with Ruby at this point that he does trust her, you know, for better or for worse. And she was the only one that was there for him. However, she's the only one that was there for him because he pushed everyone else away.
Notably Bobby.
Bobby
would have been there for Sam in a heartbeat if Sam had let him.
The fact that like he walks away from Bobby and doesn't allow Bobby to be a support to him, directly paralleling Mystery Spot, is so interesting.
It's fascinating because the trickster called all this. Like he showed Sam exactly how he would deal with this, and Sam didn't learn anything from it.
No, like 0%. Sam potentially went darker than the Mystery Spot timeline.
Because now he has Ruby.
Time too. Because in Mystery Spot, it's a whole year before he gets to the point.
No, I think it's 6 months.
Oh, 6 months. Sorry. This was less than 4.
Yeah.
And Sam was like, you know, hooking up with a demon,
now,
trying to sell his soul.
If the trickster had allowed Ruby to exist in his pocket dimension, would Sam have gone that route too? You know, because I wonder if Ruby wasn't there because it was a specific reality that the trickster had contrived.
Right. It was very specific what was and wasn't available to Sam in that universe. And we don't see, at least in that, anyone other than Bobby, like anyone they know. Whereas like in reality, there's a lot of different people Sam could have gone to. There's Bobby, there's Joe and Ellen, there's
Rufus even. Well, I guess Dean met Rufus.
Yeah, but they have connections to Rufus through Bobby.
Yeah.
But Missouri, there's just like a lot of resources Sam could have tapped into that he doesn't, because I think Sam knows that the only way likely to get Dean back is going to be doing something that none of those people are going to be okay with.
Yep, which is putting himself in significant danger.
Yeah, and you know, Sam doesn't want to survive.
Not without Dean.
No, and I noticed a parallel there. So when Ruby, you know, when Ruby and Sam are trying to go after Lilith, and Ruby tells Sam, like, this is suicide, like, and then she has the moment of like, oh, you don't want to survive this.
Oh, you already knew that. Okay.
You already knew, like, you know what you're going into. You don't want to survive Lilith. And I noticed very, very direct parallel to at the end of season 2 with Dean and Bobby, where Bobby's like, you know, trying to talk to Dean about the fact that Sam is gone. And I don't remember what Bobby says to him right before this, but Dean's, you know, let it end. Like, very similar energy from Sam and Dean in that moment of like, without my brother, without that protective force, I will do pretty much anything.
Because it's pointless without it.
Yeah, I don't want to survive without this person, you know. And Dean, when Sam died, lasts about 3 days, not even like 2 days. Sam, obviously it's not quite the same because no demon will take him, and you get the impression that that's like, I get the impression that that first time that he goes to the Crossroads demon is like right away, pretty quick.
I feel like it's gotta be like within the next day or so.
Yeah, like I think that's the first thing he tries.
He collects, you know, Dean's body and then recovers with Bobby for maybe a day and then goes off to drink because Bobby was there when it happened, like right across the street. So
Yeah.
he couldn't avoid Bobby immediately.
No. And I wonder too if when Dean comes back, one of the questions that he asks to Bobby and Sam are like, why did you bury me? Like, why didn't you give me a hunter's funeral? And I wonder if that's, I mean, I think that's probably why, is probably Sam appealed to. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how Sam convinced Bobby of that, but it makes sense that Sam would just bury him if Sam's like, yeah, I'm gonna bury you, and then like in 2 minutes I'm gonna go and try and make a deal. Like,
yeah, you'll be back. Give me a minute. Let me go get shit-faced, and then, well, I bet he also probably tried a few crossroads and drank more and more between each one, and it took a few before the guy showed up.
Yeah, or he's tried negotiating with several and none of them. And, you know, maybe this is the final, maybe the one we see is like the last one he tries, with the one that finally breaks and is like, yeah, no, you're not getting a deal.
Maybe he killed some of the other ones because the demon that appears at this crossroads makes a reference to that. Like, I didn't know if I should appear because you killed, or last time you made a deal, you killed my guy or whatever.
Yeah.
So they communicate about that in some way, but
well, they're all a part of the same union, you know. Crossroads demons
unite.
You know, they're coworkers.
Love that energy.
So one other note I have that's kind of grace related, because obviously grace is really connected to the concepts of like faith and salvation and like mercy. Like a lot of those are really tied into other contexts. And I thought I think it's a good writing decision. They make the connection of, if you're religious, scared, and had demons on your ass, like where would you go to feel safe? And Anna goes to a church. And so we get all this like religious imagery, and obviously grace is a huge concept in the Christian faith that is kind of the baseline of some of the mythology in this season. I don't have a specific point with that. I think it's just interesting.
No, it has been very interesting to hear, specifically in this episode, about the 600 seals, because growing up in Sunday school and whatnot with my parents, the book of Revelations really only talks about the 66 seals, and it acts like those are the only ones. So for them to add these 534 that are unnecessary but exist out there really ups the stakes, because if they just followed the rules that Christianity laid out, it wouldn't, like, it'd be easy to, if you just stop one of them, you know? No biggie. But with this, it makes it a lot more of a menacing threat and is pretty intense. I dig it.
Yeah, well, like even with like Sam Hain, like if there's only 66 seals, the raising of Sam Hain can only happen once every like 300, 400 years or something like that. Like it's a long stretch of, I don't remember exactly, it's a long stretch of time. And if you stop that seal, then guess what? You've just prevented Lucifer from rising for at least
300 years.
300 more years before you have to even worry about it again. Whereas the 600 seals like really stacks the odds in the favor of Lucifer.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting when you think about
who created those rules.
Yeah. Yeah. Which we don't, at this point in the show, we don't really know. You know, we've got set up that the angels and the demons are at odds, and we've got a lot of references to God, but we don't really know.
It's interesting because the game seems rigged. Each step we learn more about it, right? So we learn there's a million demons. Okay, wow, that's a lot, versus us hunters that are doing the work of good guys. Okay, no, we've got angels on our side. Oh, and they're super powerful and can crush demons like it's nothing. Okay, odds are in our favor. Oh, no. There's 600 seals. That's fine.
Yeah, and they're just breaking, and they're like, there's not.
It's an avalanche of seals.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah, it's not looking good. And we're not even that far into this. Like, we're almost halfway through the season, but it's not looking hopeful.
No, not great.
And I mean, this episode ends on that. Like, this episode ends really interestingly because, you know, Dean's kind of reluctantly trusting Ruby. They've managed to get away from Alistair for the time being. And then Castiel and Uriel show up and they're like, we're going to take Anna and she has to die.
So dramatic. Okay, chill, bro. What?
So dramatic. Oh, I mean, has Cass had any non-dramatic scenes at this point?
No, not a single one.
Like, I mean, you know, gay people are dramatic. We're dramatic. We're a dramatic bunch.
We are the drama.
And you know, Cass is just living up to that.
Honestly.
Showing up, just being like, "It's what's happening."
Yeah. The last note I had about Grace is that at the end of the episode, when Dean owns up to saying to Sam about how he was wrong about Ruby, that's some expert level Grace right there. He's showing it in his own way, just very calm and respectfully, like, hey, I was wrong about you. My bad, dog.
Yeah, it's a big moment. Because still doesn't trust Ruby, but he's making the decision to like extend some grace to Sam for Sam's previous decisions. Like, I don't think it's as much of him extending grace to Ruby. It's just kind of like he's like reluctant allies with Ruby, but he's extending the grace to Sam for the decisions that Sam made that led him to working with Ruby. And
that's a big step. It's a big step.
Yeah. And time will tell if that holds in this trio that are now working together. But
this little team of misfit,
to put it mildly.
I did like the reference to Monopoly. Do not take your card. Do not pass go.
Yeah. And I do think I like that scene a lot. I think that Ruby's really smart.
Yeah.
And really strategic. She realizes, oh, Sam's not going to work with me because I'm possessing someone. Okay, I'm going to go and like fix that problem. Realize, oh, they've warded themselves against me. Oh, I'm going to like briefly possess someone else to get them a message. Like, she's strategic.
She's on top of it. Mad props to Ruby.
Yeah. And, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that like this is where, it's just very funny to me forever that Jared and Jen, just the scenes with them in here, the sexy time scenes are just infinitely more funny when you realize that those two have real life children. Noah's having a moment right now you can't hear.
I did not realize that this was Jen. Okay. Yeah, I knew she came in somewhere.
Realize that. Yeah, this is Jen. This is his wife. They have 3 children.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Ugh, I wish that their chemistry looked a little bit more natural on the screen. Oh, whoops. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I said it looked forced. My bad. They've probably gotten better.
I don't know the exact timeline of when they started dating, when they started their relationship, if it at what point in filming or after filming. So I don't know. This was still very early. Like, she'd been in like 3 episodes at this point.
Damn, good for them. Good for them. That's cute.
Anyway, it's very funny. So next we're going to move into our going meta section where we are tracking lore, representation, behind the scenes trivia. We probably should have talked about Jared and Jen in this section. Oh, well, we're going to move into it now.
That just means it's a good segue. Perfect.
Exactly. First, our representation check. So,
okay, I had a pretty significant note that I liked. I really liked in representation check for this episode.
Wow.
When at the end, when Ruby's possessing the maid and she comes in, and once they figure out that it's Ruby, they're like, "What, Ruby? And she's like, "What? So what? I'm possessing this hot maid for a minute. What's up?" Like, calls the maid hot just in a throwaway line. And Supernatural does not usually treat people of color or of people of size with that amount of respect.
That is really true.
I like
Ruby
that.
doing better than most of the other hero characters in this show.
Straight up. Better than Bobby has handled people of size. Like, come on. That hurts. That hurt. But
I mean, A+ to Ruby.
Yeah, honestly.
Recognizing hotness where hotness exists.
Facts. Ugh. That was the best note. The rest of it was more about the forced sex scene. Not great relationship dynamics displayed there.
No. And we talked about kind of why that is. It's also very interesting to me how they're presenting their relationship, and the power dynamics are really interesting, because obviously, like, Sam is a like big, strong person.
Someone that Ruby really fears and respects.
Mm-hmm. But also, Ruby has a lot of the power in this.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue probably most of the power in their relationship. And you see that even in...
He thinks that she's more powerful than he is, but she knows that he's the most powerful, But
yeah,
he thinks... Yeah.
And they're playing this game of like, so much of their relationship in this episode feels like this like
cat and mouse
push and pull. Yeah. Where they are both enjoying that element of their relationship, but that element of their relationship is quite a lot of danger.
Yeah.
Kind of for both of them, from both of their perspectives.
Yeah. Not the best.
We don't advise.
Just to clarify, our podcast, Saving People Queering Things, does not advise you have sexual relations with a demon. Just FYI.
I took a drink right at that moment. It was a really bad idea. I thought you were gonna end that sentence with like not advising you have sexual relationships, when you've
this
been
kind of
vaguely
power.
coerced, but demon
With
also
the
works.
demons, yeah. Either of the above. Take it how you will.
Okay, so this is going to be a very topical reference and joke, but I'm going to make it anyway. We're recording this on October 2nd. There was this whole thing this past week with the Try Guys, and so Twitter has just been like, my Twitter has been making the joke of like, they lost focus and had a consensual workplace relationship about basically any couple in anything that have ever done that. And Sam and Ruby.
Lost focus and had a consensual.
I'm sorry.
It'll totally still be relevant in November.
Yes, very timely. And this joke will not be funny in 6 months, but it's funny right now.
Now it's in the podcast forever.
Yeah. You can go on my Twitter and see me reblogging a couple. I handle these jokes.
Okay, so get this. I was looking into the lore. We've mentioned the seals already. We've talked about how those were inspired and changed. We can learn a lot more about angels and how they operate. There's a galaxy-wide channel that they can all talk on. That's pretty cool. But they also haven't been very active for 2,000 years or so.
Yeah, it's just really unclear because if the fact that Anna has tuned into them all of a sudden, that seems to be very connected to Dean, but it's unclear as to exactly how angel radio works aside from that. But yeah, like you said earlier, we don't know. We're going to find out the reasons why Anna tunes in very quickly, but we don't at this episode know. It's interesting that we're seeing psychic similar abilities from someone who we are going to find out is not psychic. And it's interesting that she, fully human, is tapping into that, considering what we know next episode. And we'll talk about this more next episode, because I think it's an interesting lore piece.
We've also got white-eyed demons now with Alistair. Is this our first white-eyed?
Well, no, Lilith is also.
Okay.
But yeah, we have a second one.
That's intimidating. He's definitely seems more powerful than Lilith was.
You think?
It's what it seems like, because he brushed off Sam's powers like it was nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And Sam like, and he just like, oh, you thought you had something? Nope, I'm fine.
Especially since Lilith couldn't kill Sam before Sam had been honing his powers with Ruby.
Yeah, she tried. She hit him with that flash. And then they stab him with the demon blade and it does nothing. Pulls it right back out and his clothes are fine. So a little continuity error there maybe, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's cool we're getting like different classes. We've gotten different classes of demons at this point. Like we get super low level demons, then we get demons like Ruby who seem like mostly a normal like low level demon, but
more trained,
yeah,
like
more responsibility. And then she said like Lilith pulled me out, like all of these things. And then we have crossroad demons, and now we have this, whatever Lilith and Alistair are, which seem to be that other step up in terms of power. And Azazel. I mean, we also have yellow-eyed demons with Azazel. So we've actually have like at least four different kind of classes of demon.
Because we've got black eyes, white eyes, yellow eyes, and red eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we're building, we have a lot more demon lore.
4 down, 2 to go. Thanos. Collecting all the colors. No,
collecting all the colors. Blue-eyed demons are going to be next.
And then green, and we're good.
And then green. Actually, I wish that was true. We are going to get more demon lore, but unfortunately, I don't think we ever have a blue-eyed demon. Someone listening, tweet at me or tweet at Queering Things.
Don't tweet at me.
And I won't show Noah. But I'm curious because I can't remember and I can't be bothered to look it up right this second. I think that's all the lore.
Yeah, I think that's it.
There are a few pop culture references in this episode, not a ton. Obviously, the title is a reference to the movie that has the same name. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
And the Shawn Mendes song.
Yeah. Oh man, we missed that. Why is that on our mixtape? I think we need to add that into our mixtape as well.
I think it's just legally.
I think it needs to be the third song in the mixtape.
Yeah. Besides that, there was the Monopoly one.
Yes, which is a good reference.
1-900 Angel feels like a pop culture reference.
Yes. Oh yeah, totally. So the other reference in this episode, I was like trying to check and I'm like, yes, that's correct. The other reference in this episode that is of note is when they're talking about Anna and the demons, and Dean says, yeah, they want her, they're not screwing around. All right, so I'm Girl Interrupted, and I know the score of the apocalypse. And the Girl Interrupted reference is, I mean, it's a reference to that movie, which stars Winona Ryder, and it's about a girl in a mental institution after trying to commit suicide. So like, there's obviously that link to Anna, but Misha Collins is also in that movie. So it's also a reference to that, which I just think is nice.
So maybe Dean watched that movie and had a little crush on a character, and then he sees an angel that looks a little similar to, and it's like, hey, okay, I ain't mad about that. That movie's been on my mind recently. Interesting.
Love it.
They reference Al Gore. I recycle. Al Gore would be proud.
They also, one of the things noted on one of the Supernatural wikis is that Anna's room is Ward 42, which could be a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference.
Ooh.
Or it could be a random number.
Which is kind of the point of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference.
Exactly. So that's fun. That's not, I can't take any credit for that. That's all the wiki. Yeah, that's about it for pop culture and behind the scenes.
Damn.
Cool. Then that brings us to our last and often favorite part of the episode, where we bless a character from the episode. Noah, who do you want to bless this week?
I want to bless Anna. So
yes.
This girl has been going through the ringer this episode. She has told that everything that she knows is real is fake, and doesn't know which way is up. All she knows is everybody wants to get her, to hurt her, and some people don't believe her, and makes her feel like she's crazy, and nobody deserves to go through that. Like doubting everything you believe and see and hear, and everything is a lot of pain to go through. And so I just want to send blessings to Anna and anybody else going through something like that. Blessings.
Good. I'm gonna bless actually the vessel that Ruby ends up in. So the girl that's dead.
R.I.P.
And a blessing to her and to her family, because Ruby goes into the hospital and finds this person that's been in a coma and that is no longer alive. And it's sad. Ruby is just kind of like, great, it's a meat suit that's like no longer a living person. But like, she was a living person. Ruby's making the best of a bad situation, but this was a living person. And not only did this family would have had the body disappear.
Yeah, they never really explain if that person never had family that was looking for her or checking up.
Yeah, and so even if the family may never have gotten answers about, they say this is like a Jane Doe. They don't even know who she was. Like, that family presumably just had, people who loved this girl just had her disappear one day and never reappear. And that is, just a blessing for that family and for that girl and for whatever story we didn't get told about what happened to them.
Yeah, powerful. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you all so much for listening. Please go make sure you are subscribed to Saving People Queering Things wherever you get your podcasts, and share our show with your friends.
Also, something very exciting, our co-host Elayna, who's not with us today, their new book is out now. Their book is called Still the Stars. It's by Elayna Mae Darcy. And this story is poetry meets intergalactic queer self-discovery with a heavy sprinkle of saving the world. It's amazing. You can find it in stores or online, and we will have the link in our episode description today.
Fantastic time. Make sure to go check it out, because she's put so much effort into that, and I couldn't be prouder. It's so great.
Yes.
She did
go
phenomenal.
Read it. It's amazing.
10 out of 10 for representation and queer stories in general. Proud of her. But you can find links to all of our Queering Things social media pages and join our Discord server through our website, queeringthingspodcast.com.
Be sure to ride along with us next week as we discover episode 10, Heaven and Hell, through the theme of faith.
Thank you all for coming along for the ride, and we wish you a peaceful road until we meet again.